Today, I want to talk about healthcare, mainly preventative healthcare. Now, I got the idea for this video from a comment that I made on one of my videos talking about Ozempic and the GLP-1 drugs. And the person said, what's the best way to, the video was titled, how to get them, I even forget my own titles of videos. Something about getting the most out of these drugs if you're on it, right? How to not to lose so much muscle mass was the main gist of it. And the guy commented, don't start, right? Like, don't start taking them. That's the best way not to have any problems. That's what it was, problems with Ozempic. So I thought to myself, yeah, even better than that, don't get fat, right? Don't start getting fat so that you don't have to use one. And I don't think he liked that because I think he deleted his comment or something like that. But what ends up happening is the later you go, getting on prevention, the later you go in life to try to make changes, you have so much inertia moving in one direction. It's so hard. I'm dealing with this with clients, and because they don't have practices set up or they don't have any that they've used in the past, it's so hard to take someone the later they are. I have clients that sometimes come to me when they're 70, 75, 80 years old. And they may have done things when they were young, but for maybe 40 years, 50 years, 60 years, they've just been hanging out because maybe they were a stay-at-home mom, or maybe because they had a career and then they retired and they just hung out, and then they had a knee surgery or they had a back surgery or they had something, and then they're in all this pain, they've gotten overweight, and then now they want to make a change because it's getting to this point where like they can't function anymore, right? Well, when you get to that point, it's so much harder than if you had laid a foundation down. So when I talk about the best strategies for healthcare or prevention with healthcare, away from the hospitals, away from the gyms even, what I would want to do is I would want to start in school, young, junior high. The classes that I took on nutrition in college could be taught in junior high. It's so like that degree that you see over there, that's my nice framed degree from San Diego State University, thank you very much, is a joke. I'm being honest. Kinesiology, some of the courses, I'm going, why wasn't I taught this when I was in high school? There's basic physiological principles about your heart, about your muscles, about nutrition, and just the concentration of what's in 1 gram of protein, 1 gram of carbohydrate, 1 gram of fat. Those simple things would pay so much dividends down the line if you had that information with you as you were growing into adulthood, especially as you were going through hormonal changes and things like that. And then on top of that, I would say, I said not outside the gyms, but school gyms, making it mandatory for kids to lift weights, mandatory for kids to have activity, and ingraining that habit in them. They've done studies on this and they've shown just empirical data looking at people who exercise with a sport, right? So they're involved in sports when they're young. And let's just say they stop at junior high level and then they follow them later on in life. Then they look at people who stop at high school level. They look at them later on in life. They stop at people who are at the end of high school, so they make it right to college. So high school right after. Then they go to college, and they found that who were the people that had the habits of exercise for the longest period of time after their schooling. Whether it's someone stopped exercising in junior high and they went to college, they stopped being in a sport in junior high and they still went on to college, whether someone ended up playing sports through high school, still went on to college, all things considered equal, who are the people that continue to exercise later on in life? The people who played sports the longest. So if you stopped playing sports in junior high, you ended up not exercising later on because you didn't build that habit long enough. Same thing with people in high school and then college, they were the most apt to end up exercising long term. So what I would do if I was running schools, and what's one of the most easily cut programs? PE, physical education, health education, those things. We did a health class in the summer. It was a joke, right? So health, to me, with the information that we have, it wouldn't have to be very complicated. It wouldn't have to be very long. Our health class was more about scaring us about STDs and getting pregnant and things like that, and alcohol, versus actual health, the basics of nutrition, things that are very easy for kids to understand, how your heart and your lungs and things like that work, and what are the effects if you do things like smoking. See, that's the thing. They just try to scare us with, car crashes and DUIs and things like that, instead of actually teaching us what happens in the body, which we have all of this information now. Why wouldn't we do that? Understand yourself more. I went to college to understand this physical body. Some people go to college to understand accounting because they want to open an accounting firm or work somewhere. Some people go to college because they want to, study a certain subject. Everyone, no matter what subject they study, has a physical body. Why do we not have information about our physical body? When we go, like I said, junior high, high school, low-level education, if we're getting educated, the physical body, to me, should be paramount. And the fact that we don't shows why so many people have such a hard time changing, especially later on in life, because they have no concept of it. They don't know how to do any of these things. They didn't build any patterns, yes, but also there's so much information out now. People, it scrambles their brain and they go, I don't know what to do. To me, it's super simple. That's my perspective, but it's because I have this information. Do you see where I'm going with this? If you had more information, maybe you wouldn't have the pattern and maybe you wouldn't change. I'll give you that. All the information in the world means nothing if you don't take action. But if we don't make it a priority in our schooling system, what does that say to kids? Hey, no, who cares? Make all the money, all right? Get a job, do this, do that. We don't prioritize health. You shouldn't prioritize health. But then down the line, everyone's upset saying, hey, right, I have all these issues, fix me, solve me, give me drugs, give me this, instead of starting at the source. And for me, when I deal with people that it takes so, like I said, all that inertia to try to turn that around and get you in healthy habits, it's so much harder, especially because the hormones aren't there, especially because you've had all these nagging injuries and things from just daily use or non-use. A lot of injuries I see are people that they don't use their body, and that's what's actually causing them. They don't have any lubrication in their joints. They don't have the nutrition that goes along with it, so they're carrying excess weight, and their joints are they're inflamed overall, and they have all this extra pressure on everything. Every time they sit and stand up, they don't have the muscular strength to be able to move their body through because of that excess weight. So having the habits go along with it would allow for someone to keep their muscle mass, to keep their body. And again, if it was a society-wide priority, which it's not now, it's one of our least priorities, but yet it's this huge cost. Like I said, healthcare. If we really want to solve healthcare, it's got to start, to me, it's got to start young, and it wouldn't be that hard. I don't know what I could do about this other than started writing up programs and writing up classes and then proposing it. But what have we seen? What happened during COVID? They got rid of all the PE stuff. They didn't care because it was all online, right? They cut these programs because we like to emphasize the STEM, science, technology, English, mathematics, right? Those are the things. I think that's STEM. Well, that's how far away my education's been. And back in 2012 is when I graduated. So, but everyone has a human body. And especially when you're going to see the costs of healthcare are going to continue to go up because there's nothing that we can really do for people except for mitigate. And it's going to mean more visits to the hospital, more visits to the doctor, more drugs, more surgeries, more interventions from the healthcare system. It's just going to load on our healthcare system. So how would I? Don't start. How would I want to, prevent anything? How would I want to get ahead on healthcare? Start young. Start with those healthy habits. Nutrition. And it's basic. It doesn't mean that you have to eat a complete certain diet. It's basic understanding of how much your body needs overall. Exercise, basic. Doesn't mean you need to take CrossFit 6 days a week. Just doing something and continuing along with it. And like brushing your teeth, it's a non-negotiable. It's not something that you say, oh, well, I like doing that. I don't like exercise. If you like exercise, more power to you. The exercise that I do, it's terrible. It's hard, but I do it because the bang for the buck that I get from working out one time a week for 30 minutes gives me a physique that I can feel good about, strong, move my body. If I'm asked to go on a hike or go walk somewhere, I don't have any issue whatsoever at all because of the program of being consistent with it. And if we don't emphasize that with kids and we say, well, do it if you like it, do it if you do sports, what's going to end up happening? People don't like it, especially if it's hard. And then how many kids continue along with sports? Like I said, less and less people continue along with sports as you go on because the competition goes up, it gets harder. So we don't emphasize that. We put them in PE class, they just walk around the track, they do some stupid worksheet and they're done. If we emphasize, made it important, made it something that everyone did, the instructors were doing as well, that would be something that could help us prioritize it and have a preventative mindset, because we know that if you keep those healthy habits in early, they're going to stick. As soon as you leave them, as soon as you don't make it a priority, as soon as our culture says, no, you need to work your ass off and do this, which is true, but you can still find time. Like I said, one time a week for 30 minutes is what I do. And then it just I have a more extreme diet, but you don't have to do that. You just have to maintain a calorie balance for your needs. That's it. But people don't even know that. They don't have any idea. They think they need to, drink celery juice. They think they need to, run marathons. They think they need to do all these different things. It's confusing. It's challenging. But to me, it's not. And I hate that. I hate that I have information that other people don't, especially young people that have a physical body just like me. So prevention, to me, starts young. And that's the way that if we really want to make a dent in healthcare, because it's only going to get worse, you're going to have to start young. So help me start a program. Let's figure out a way that we can get into schools to help change this narrative, all right, and make it a priority so that we have a healthy society. Because for a lot of people, I don't want to say it's too late, but it's such a big change of direction, and you have so much inertia in one direction. It's very, very challenging. So that's all we got for today, talking about healthcare. Until next time, I'll see you then.